It's pizza time. And around here, I don't do ordering out. I make them myself. My way. Basic dough recipe. There are a gazillion of them. Start with 2½ cups of bread flour. And the way I know it's bread flour is that I mark it on the inside of the top. Otherwise, I'd forget. Into that, we throw 1 teaspoon of instant yeast, like thus. And then into a cup of warm water, you throw, what, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. Stir those around to dissolve. Dissolve, damn it. Good. Dump that into the flour yeast mix. Up here. And stir that all together. And about here. Add a tablespoon of EVOO. And put the top back on the bottle so you don't knock it over and spill it. And you just keep working this until it turns into something that resembles a dough. If you had a fancy KitchenAid mixer, this would be a whole lot easier and faster. But when you don't, you can do it with a spurtle. And after a few minutes, when it starts to look like something, you lightly flour your bench, which real chefs call their countertops. You dump it out on it. And you start working it by hand. Adding a little more bread flour as you need it to keep it from sticking. And you knead it for about 5 minutes. Adding a little more flour as needed until it's no longer sticky. And after about 5 minutes, it's looking like this. And you're done with it. Don't worry it anymore. The next step is to cut it in half, because this is enough to make 2 pizzas. And you roll each one of them into a nice little ball. Now, put just a little EVOO into a bowl. Drop the ball into it, coat it all over so that it won't stick. Do the same thing with the other ball. And you cover them with plastic wrap. I hate this stuff. It always sticks to itself instead of sticking to anything else. Grr. Anyway. And you put them in the fridge to rise overnight. We will be back tomorrow to make pizza with it. Now what I generally do is I'll take one of them and stick it in the freezer. I have frozen it for as long as a month, pulled it out, let it thaw, and go ahead with its rise, and it works perfectly. I don't know how long you could get away with it, but if you're only making one pizza, that's the way to do it. Back tomorrow. Alrighty then, fast forward to the next day. Take the dough ball out of the fridge about a half hour or so before you're going to use it, so it comes up to room temperature and it gets a chance to breathe a little. And while you're at it, before you forget, you preheat the oven. And what you want to do is take it as high as it will possibly go. Most consumer ovens, I think, generally quit at 550. That's where they cut off. That's as far as mine goes. If yours goes higher, go for it. And while it's doing that, back over here, we ready up some toppings. I'm keeping it simple, starting with some ground beef that I just browned up, threw in a little slap ya mama and a little chili powder for interest. The boss is watching it, so don't touch it. And meanwhile, down here, going to thin slice some onion and then slice up some pepperoni. Gotta have pepperoni. That ought to be enough. Maybe not. Okay, we'll try that. Pepperoni, the real thing. Maybe that much. wrap it. Then find where you sliced it. It always disappears. Peel off the casing. You don't want to eat that. Get up here. And slice it up pretty thin too. That way you get better coverage with it, and it cooks up nice because it gets a little crispy. If you cut it too thick, it will get a little soggy. We don't want soggy pizzas. Then at some point, one for the cook. Yum. Another one for the cook. Okay. Now we make up a sauce for it. I don't make this from scratch, I cheat. I use basically any good marinara sauce and just spice it up a little. Doesn't take a whole lot. That's probably too much. I don't care. And what is that? Maybe a third of a cup. Add a good half teaspoon or so of basil. About the same amount of oregano. Maybe just a little less thyme, maybe a quarter teaspoon. And just a touch of Tabasco, just to get your attention. Stir that all together. Taste it. Needs garlic powder. Some. However much that is. Alright. Now, set all this to the side and work on the dough. Okay, as yesterday, put a little flour on the bench and take this ever so gently out of the bowl. We don't want to actually do any more working of the dough than we have to at this point, because it will tend to make it tough. And who wants a tough pizza? You start at the center and work it out to create the beginnings of a crust. And just keep pushing and stretching and spreading. Then at some point, do a little more stretching gently with your knuckles. And if you're really good, you can toss it around. There is no way I'm going to try that. I'll have dough all over this kitchen. But we're shooting for something around 12 inches in diameter, preferably with no holes in it. And again, without actually making the dough work more than you have to. That's one reason you handle it gently. And if you get a little hole in it, stop. Pinch it together. Apologize to it. And it's about big enough anyway. And you'll know it's ready when it's roughly the size of your stone. A pizza stone is the best investment you can make in making real pizza at home. It makes all the difference in the world. I think it was $10 at Target. Ooh, the oven's ready. Now you want to put the stone in the oven and let it heat for 15 minutes or so that it's up to actually 550 degrees. Now, sprinkle your peel with just a little bit of cornmeal. I like cornmeal because it acts like little ball bearings. And you want the pizza to slide real nicely on this puppy, both going into and coming out of the oven. And assemble. Start with the sauce. As I said before, it doesn't take a whole lot. Sprinkle on some onions. Now you add the cheeses of your choice. Not here. The last of this bag of mozzarella. And because you're making it for yourself, you put it on as heavy as you darn well want it. And then, for me, also adding a little cheddar. Just a little on this bottom layer. I'm going to put more on top of it. Now, sprinkle on some of that ground beef. And again, try to take it out to, but not over the edge. You want to keep that crust kind of naked so it'll crisp up. And pepperoni. And one for me. And now some more cheese, partly because I want it, and partly to help hold it together. Helps to keep your pepperoni from sliding off. Or at least that's the rationale that I use. Works for me. And we're ready to stick it in the oven. You want to jiggle it on the peel to make sure it slides real nice and easy. And then feed it in here, right? right on the stone. And it'll cook for anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes at this temperature, so pay attention. It's been 7 minutes, and it's about as good as it gets. Out of there. I'll let it cool for about 5 minutes. It went just a little free-form on me when I was getting it on the stone. Ask me if I care. Move out of my way. Why does the pepperoni always have to come out right in the middle of the cut? No, I'm not a professional. Leave me alone. Get it onto a plate, like now. That will do for starters. Naturally, you have to have a salad to help soak up some of the cholesterol. But this is real pizza, made at home, my way. And you see what the stone does to the crust. Makes it all nice and uniform and crisp and not soggy.